spiritual enlightenment, death of ego, a pursuit as old as humanity itself, and snowboarders are no different, and how they chase it is with the frontside board slide. Ask any boarder around and they'll tell you nothing will humble you faster or harder than trying to get a grasp of this trick. It is a full spiritual, physical, multi-year journey to get landing it that will try to break you and reform you. But I don't really believe in any of that stuff, so in this video I'm going to show you how to do this trick in a safe, effective way, so hopefully you can lace it right away and don't need to go and complete a complete spiritual journey in which you land it. First, let's break down the two most common slams and why they happen, because it will give us a lot of super necessary context for the rest of this video. So here, both these boys, they're doing slightly different things, but they're making the same mistake, and that's twofold. First, they're leaned over, jumping towards the feature itself. This is going to give them a lot of sideways momentum. So once they're on the feature, their weight is getting shifted towards their back foot, and then they combine that with something else that causes the edge catch, and that's too much upper body rotation for the bend in the legs. When you start rotating your upper body, it's going to shift your weight more and more towards your back heel, and that's exactly what's happening here. They're on the rail, they're unbalanced, not locked in, and then as they slide across it, their weight's going and pulling their weight over to that back heel. That's adding a lot of torsional flex in the snowboard, shifting the weight back, and it results in a heel catch what's really brutal. Like, look at these slams. It's just one of those things you can't have happen. The other slam is the opposite, and that's slipping out onto your face. This happens for a lot of reasons, but it's always because the upper body's too bent forward for the hinge in the hips, making it so your center of balance isn't stacked over that board. On a down rail, even if you land centered, if you're not in a position that can handle the change in G-force, it's not flexible enough, you're gonna slip out. So in this instance, there's a few things that cause this to happen to her. So first, she's hyperextending her legs, jumping upwards. We don't really want to be elongating ourselves, jumping ourselves up, because now she has to go and crunch herself down. And because she's crunching herself down into this position, it's causing her to go and lean forward. And there's one more thing here that's the main cause of this, and that's this two-centered stance. A frontside board slide's a little bit weird because you need to go and shift it over to your front foot so you can go and pull out your back foot. But if we leave off our front foot off the jump, we'll get this like two-footed jump sensation, and we won't be able to get far enough on the rail to just use base principles to counter-rotate into it. And that's going to make it so you're crunching down, trying to reposition, and if we have any inconsistency like that, it's going to lead to a slip out. Prime example of messing up the takeoff, here the dude's weight's completely leaned towards the rail, so when he jumps up, his legs are going to push him. That's going to make it so his board's really far away from his upper body, and then as he hits the rail, he has a lot of sideways momentum. From here, we're not able to use any counter rotation, any of the principles that make the trick work. And that's why it's so important to remember, a frontside board slide is just a 50-50 with a little bit of extra hip jazz. Like, when we compare my 50-50 to my frontside board slides, the similarities are pretty ridiculous. So basically the same riding in position, a little more extreme for a frontside board slide because I want to have more range of motion to play with. Then the pop is exactly the same, slightly lifting the chest, keeping pressure on the tail. The difference of a frontside board slide is I want that extra little bit of hinge so my upper body is a little more exaggerated, but the way I'm moving my arms and extending and keeping pressure through is exactly the same. And then once the tail slides off the end, the difference is now because I have this extra room in my legs and upper body, I can utilize counter rotation, set over that front foot. I don't need to get as on top of a rail because I can land slanted and use momentum to pull me over. And this is just the way to think about it. A frontside board slide is a 50-50, hyper exaggerated, so you have more range of motion, so you can go and utilize your hips to shift into a board slide position, because the actual upper body is almost not moving at all whenever you do this trick. Pay attention to my upper body here. It is almost completely still, popping up, counter rotating. It's not moving at all. Like, look at the zipper placement. Even though I'm getting this much rotation, it's almost not with the upper body whatsoever. So you see the arms going, they are pulling, the shoulders are rotating a little bit, but generally the mass is completely centered. And instead, we're trying to just go and get a nice clean pop, weight set preemptively over our back foot. This makes it so as we go and do our two-footed jump, we maintain a little bit of tail pressure. Basically lets us get the same benefits of an ollie, but without all the extra body dynamics of trying to get that motion, because if you start front foot, shift to the back foot, try to get that ollie, a little too complex. So I'm preemptively shifting my hips to the back foot, pulling my upper body forward, hands forward, so then when I go and pop up, my weight gets slightly shifted towards that front foot. And here you can see it's still completely in line, completely straight, and I'm just slowly shifting those weight to the front foot. And then at this position right here, because I maintain tail pressure, my board's naturally over the top of the feature, and because I'm fine hanging it slightly angled, all I need to do is utilize a little bit of counter rotation. The key to this is stability. We want the head in one position, the chest in one position, and we don't really want it lifting up or going down. Instead, we want a comfortable enough position that we can hold this and then just counter rotate through it, staying as still as possible. Because if we go and start adding a bunch of dynamics, it's going to make it a lot harder to control. One of the biggest mistakes you'll see on frontside board slides is this, and that's just staying too tall and extended. The reason why this is problematic is look at how much he's struggling to get that board slide completely 90, and he doesn't really have much balance. When you're completely vertical like this, there's two major downsides. First of all, you can't really pull your hips back and pull your upper body forward to rebalance, so it's all based on leaning. And when you're leaning from a tall position, even a little bit of angle will put a lot of your weight away from your snowboard, making it way more likely that you'll slip out one way or the other, so you don't have flexibility. Also, it limits how much you can open your upper body. Notice how his eyes are more down at the rail here instead of all the way towards the end. That's because if he rotated his upper body more with this tall position, it would shift his weight all the way over to his heel edge on his snowboard, and it'd add that contrast in the upper body and legs, would make the board warp, and if your board's warping in frontside board slide, weight shifting towards the heels, we know what happens there. And then the other issue is getting on the rail properly. So like these two front boards, not too bad, but they're basically flying off for the same reasons, just at different points. On the left here, as he's coming in, even though he's doing a really fantastic job of maintaining tail pressure, we can see the legs are extending a little bit, and to compensate for this, he's rounding in the spine. We never want our spine rounding because it's really hard to add twisting to the spine. If you try to twist it to rotate it from this position, it's going to put one shoulder down, one shoulder up. So we always want that spine in a straight position. But on the right here, we can see that his spine is in too straight of a position. From here, if he adds rotation to his upper body, it's going to shift his weight to that back heel. So he's going to be really limited on how much he can get his weight up and over that front foot. And if you're not getting your upper body forward, hips back over that front foot, you're just not going to be able to get that rotation and that extra room for air when doing your frontside board slide. Little body demo here. One of the most important things, I highly recommend doing this at home before ever trying a frontside board slide. You gotta know the motions before bringing it. So first, the bases are 50-50. What's your comfortable 50-50 position, expansion? All that's the same, but we want to be able to utilize a little bit of counter rotation, and that's easier when we pull our hips back more and have our upper body come forward more. So a frontside board slide is just this position here, and this is powerful because our upper body is a little more forward. This is really useful because as we jump straight up, it'll naturally push us a little forward. That makes it so we don't need to jump and elongate towards a rail where we'll move our center of balance. Instead, our legs will naturally sink up to where we're balanced. And the next part is by having our upper body over here, as we rotate our legs, that naturally keeps this shift so it's over my front foot. So even though I'm having my hip shifted to the back foot, because my upper body is angled and how the board of rotation works, it will naturally make it so I'm set over my front foot. So how you want to think about a frontside board slide is 50-50 position, squat it a little bit lower. Now I just want to go nice and patient, keep tail pressure, and from this position, all you do is take your foot, place it on the rail, and then kick out your back foot. Notice how I'm not going and try and twist my upper body. I'm not trying to jump into something. Instead, it's just 50-50, front foot over, strong position, kick out, back foot. And then if you start feeling yourself a little bit too tall, you're going to feel yourself going front board, stretching over here. See how that's adding torsion, twist in my spine. That's going to make me heel catch. And then if I go and start rounding up the spine, it's going to make me too top heavy, and this isn't easy to hold. So our frontside board slide position, you should be comfortable, able to hold it, able to expand more, close off more, move up, move down. It's really flexible. We don't need any like super iconic position here. Literally, a frontside board slide can be as simple as this. That's all we really need to do. The challenge is rails are scary, we want to jump onto it, and there's a lot of things that will make us try to throw us out of this position. So squatting a little more, little extra shift towards the back foot, upper body pulled forward, so when we can just pop up, frontside board slide. Ideally, it's that easy. We'll go and run through those things with this frontside board slide here to wrap up the video so you can go into the season with a really clear image of what you gotta be doing. So first things first, to get onto the feature, upper body pulled forward, see how stacked I am still over my board. I'm taking a very light toe edge angle just because it's better to have it. You wanna get onto the rail. If you're not fully on the rail with your upper body, it's gonna be bad. We don't really need to worry about the legs getting onto the rail as much. It's mostly just where your center of balance is with your upper body, the legs will follow. So don't worry about jumping the legs up and over because likely you'll slip off. And that's an important thing I do want to note here. If you find yourself slipping off one way or the other, go with it, don't fight it. Fighting is how you get hurt on rails. Rails aren't a balancing thing, they're a takeoff thing. So if your takeoff wasn't good enough, redo it, try again, don't force it. And then when we're going and doing this, a little bit of bend in the legs, a little bit more bend in the legs and upper body is better because it gives you more room to expand, more room for air, and it lets you utilize catching the rail. Notice how my legs are bent and then they're extending into the rail and hitting it slightly angled. This is killing all of my sideways momentum, and because my upper body's pulled forward because of that forward angle I had already in my hips, it's going to put my weight enough on my front foot that it will go and rock me over even on the snowboard. That's a great way to do a frontside board slide. Just focus on the upper body being over top of it and the legs will follow. Keeping this extra little bit of hinge also gives you a bunch of ankle control. And the main thing here I want you to notice is how little that upper body and head's moving. The head isn't moving at all. Locked in like you would be just for a 50-50, vision here, up to this point, exactly the same as a 50-50. And then because we have the proper body dynamics at play, we can rotate it over. So what are those proper body dynamics? Just one more time, hip shifted back, upper body pulled forward a little bit, hip shot back, upper body pulled forward in correlation, giving us a center set of mass, but with these little bit of dynamics that give us increased range of motion. Then we go and shift, use a little bit of extension to hold that tail pressure, and from there, we just counter rotate, only focusing on keeping a nice stable body position. And if you do that, and you don't overextend, you don't underextend, you don't rush things, you're nice and patient with it, even if you don't get it perfectly, it will feel like it's there, and then you can start getting more and more committed into it. And the thing I love about this position is I can open it more, I can open it less, more bend, it doesn't matter. We're not searching for perfection whenever we do any trick on our snowboard. Instead, we're just trying to keep a nice enough, calm enough, smooth enough base that lets us get away with imperfections. Because imperfections are what snowboarding is all about. You're not going to go and do this trick perfect because you watched it on a video, but what you can do is grind out these motions at home, practice them on boxes, practice them on the mountain, get really freaking good at 50-50s, and then when you go to do your frontside board slide on a rail, hopefully you lace it first tee.